Okay, good morning everyone. It's Thursday, May 27th, 2021. We're looking at the S&P 500 futures and we're going to get started here. Actually need to adjust my mic settings. It looks like the audio is, for some reason it maxed out yesterday on the recording, so got to turn it down just a little bit here. All right, so let's get started with our pre-market analysis. Want to jump to the ultra high time frames and just point out that this candle here, this quarterly candle that's been developing for 3 months, is going to close on Monday, and you can see how bullish it is here. Really no exhaustion in this area. So from a quarterly perspective, as we've been saying for probably 2 months now, everything looks very, very bullish with no signs of exhaustion. We jump to our monthly. Again, this candle will be closing on Monday on the holiday. So pretty much, unless something drastic changes today, everything looks pretty damn strong. Huge wick to the downside. If we close today where we are now or any higher, then this will be an extremely bullish looking bar. And again, no indications of exhaustion from a divergence perspective. When we jump down to our monthly, remember the monthly that closed the weekly that closed for May 21st, we did have that potential bullish indication that has led to a push and a break of that previous weekly high. But as you've seen this week, it's been pretty sideways, although we did break to that 1275. Things have been a little bit sideways here this week, but we'll see what they can do here, and into Friday they could potentially come up, and we're not too far from testing that all-time high right around 42.38. In fact, right now we are only about 25 points away from the all-time high, and as you guys know, 25 points in the S&P could be done in just a few minutes if the bulls are there. So all the ultra high time frames, no signs of exhaustion. Everything looks very, very bullish. When we look down to our daily here, and unfortunately right now it's tough to really say what's going on in here. We don't necessarily have signs of exhaustion as we push to the high that we made at 1275 on Tuesday or Monday. But then we've basically just been chopping around in that range for the last 2 days. So coming into today, we really want to break up at least above 04 quarter to get out of yesterday's price, but ideally above 1275 here for the bulls. If we cannot get above 1275, things just don't look very good right now, and we do want to keep in mind that we have those other levels above us between where we are now and where the all-time high is. And so we'll have to kind of keep those in mind if we do start advancing a little higher here. But from this daily perspective, the only thing that I'm really seeing here is a potential kind of bullish divergence going on. And that would be if we hold the low. The problem with this being some type of an actionable trade, using this for some type of trade setup, is we do have the opportunity to come all the way down to that low at 41.4250 and still have this bullish divergence. So it's not necessarily the most useful, but right now we can make the argument that off of this low at 77.75 we have somewhat of a bullish divergence. So let's go ahead and jump down to our 4-hour here, and the 4-hour, you could again essentially make the same argument that there's a little bit of a bullish divergence going on over here from that previous low that we were comparing on the daily. And you can see that we've pushed up, but we've pushed a little bit lower here on the RVI. And we definitely do have a nice 4-hour bar here that's pushed up from the previous candle that confirmed the bullish indication. And I'll go ahead and mark that. However, like I said, we're in this chop zone, and we're going to want to either break above this 04 quarter, but ideally above this 1275. So from that 4-hour perspective, all we have is somewhat of a bullish indication off the low at 77.75. And other than that, nothing else really to be said here. Okay, from our 60-minute, we also do have a nice bull divergence, at least in the local area, which is what I really like to see, where you can see we pushed down to the low at 77.75 and also got a decent bullish indication. So now we have the potential indication on the daily, somewhat of a decent indication on the 4-hour, and then a very clear indication on the 60-minute of bullishness off of 77.75. Now we are up 20 points from there. Again, that could be all this push, all these indications get, but we'll have to see. Now this trend line that I drew it just a little bit earlier, and I'll show you how I put this in here. Essentially what I like to do is draw a nice trend line across the lows, like this, and then copy and paste it in, and then move it to the high of the move back here. And so you can see we're meeting this trend line right here. And right now, you could make an argument that we might be getting some bearish signals off the 60 compared to the previous major swing highs back here. But I think once we break that 04 quarter, that will all be off the table, and we'll still have this really clear bullish divergence off of the overnight low at 77 quarter. Or I'm sorry, 77.75. So everything looks pretty bullish on our ultra high time frames and our high time frames right now, and we just broke above that trend line. So that trend line that we had going across the lows has just been broken to the upside, which is a good thing. But remember, we do have 04 quarter and then ideally 1275 that we're going to break up above in order to really have confidence in the bulls this morning. And that's because we need to break out of the last two daily ranges. We're still stuck in the range from yesterday, and then we're stuck in the range from Monday or from Tuesday. And so we're going to have to see here what the bulls can do, see if we can actually break up above. Now from our 30-minute perspective, let's see here. 30-minute perspective, again, pretty decent bullish indication off of 77.75 here. And again, we are now pushing. So I'll go ahead and mark that as well. And as we push here, really no indications of bearishness, at least at the moment, on our 30-minute. So still everything looks pretty strong here. And we definitely are having a strong push ever since about the let's call it ever since about 5:40 this morning, when we had the pullback right back into that resistance area. So 30-minute looks pretty strong here, and up above, as you can see, 04 quarter is probably going to give us a little bit of trouble, and then we have the CP and 1275 above that we really want to get through. And then from there we had the three ranges, or the three zones that we've been talking about since I think Monday, which is 14 quarter and 16 right here, 23.50 and 20 and 38 quarter is the all-time high. Now we do have the CP that's in the way, and there seems to be two here, so that always could give us some difficulty. Let's see if the 10-minute is giving an agreement off of that low, and sure enough, from that previous swing low to that overnight low, definitely have a really clear divergence there. And so everything is kind of lining up off of that overnight low, and then we don't necessarily have any clear indications of bearishness off the current high. So right now everything just looks very bullish off the overnight low, and so I think we're going to go with a bull bias here, again assuming we can get through 04 quarter and 1275. From there we then are going to have some things to contend with on the way up. But these are the first two, 04 quarter and 1275. And again, no real indications of bearishness on any of the charts. So we have to just go with what the signals are saying. And currently the signals are not indicating any kind of bear signals. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Do want to point out some really nice reactions off of these levels that we look at. We had a beautiful bounce right off 87 quarter here on the pullback. You can see we pushed right into 98, broke it by a point, pulled back, and again came right into 87 quarter, bounced right off of it, tested it by 2 ticks or by a few ticks, pushed up, found resistance right at 95.50, pulled back right into the 50% of the previous day, this magenta line, and now we're advancing higher. So pretty decent stuff. And we're going to be looking for longs off of pullbacks here with the expectation that we're going to break above some of these key levels above. And for some reason, I don't know why, but all of a sudden yesterday, my mic started, the mic level was just too high. So it was, I forget the word for it, but it was maxing out and it sounded a little bit crappy. And I have not changed a single setting. It could be just the angle of my mic or something. So if I'm talking a little quieter today, it's because I'm trying to make sure that it doesn't top out. And so that's where we're at right now. We've had a really nice kind of stair step type action right now out of trying to break out of this whole range. Like I said, all of the previous daily price action and then the price action from the day before that, all in this 41.80 to 42.12 area. And so ideally we need to get out of that, and right now it looks like we are slowly stair stepping higher. And I'll just bring up the trend line again and just show you, this channel right here. We just broke above, and we'll see what we can do here at 04 quarter.